Valentine's Day, a day of love and romance for most, but for me it was always a reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface. As I sat alone in my dimly lit apartment, surrounded by the flickering glow of candles, casting long shadows on the halls, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease that had settled over me like a heavy blanket. It had been years since I had last celebrated Valentine's Day with anyone special. The memories of past relationships haunted me like ghosts from a forgotten past, their whispers of love and betrayal echoing in the recesses of my mind. But tonight was different. Tonight something sinister stirred in the air, a palpable sense of dread that sent shivers down my spine. I tried to distract myself with mundane tasks, scrolling through social media feeds filled with declarations of love and heart-shaped chocolates. But the facade of happiness only served to deepen my sense of isolation. As the hours crept by, the apartment grew colder, the walls closing in around me like the embrace of a vengeful spirit. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that unseen eyes lingered in the darkness, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. With trembling hands, I reached for my phone, the screen illuminating the room with an eerie glow. As I scrolled through messages from well-meaning friends and family, a notification caught my eye. It was a message from an unknown number, a single word that sent a chill down my spine. Tonight. I tried to dismiss it as a prank, a cruel joke orchestrated by someone bored, but the sense of foreboding only grew stronger with each passing moment. I felt like a character in a horror movie, the hapless victim awaiting their inevitable demise at the hands of an unseen assailant. As the clock struck midnight, a knock echoed through the empty corridors of my apartment. My heart hammered in my chest as I approached the door, my fingers trembling as I reached for the handle. With a deep breath, I swung the door open, bracing myself for whatever horrors awaited on the other side. But there was nothing. No masked killer lurking in the shadows, no sinister figure waiting to drag me into the depths of despair, only the empty hallway, bathed in the soft glow of the moonlight, streamed through the windows. I closed the door with a shaky sigh of relief, chiding myself for succumbing to irrational fears. But just as I turned to retreat into the safety of my apartment, I heard it, the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoing in the darkness. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest as the footsteps drew closer, each one sending a jolt of terror coursing through my veins. With nowhere to run and nowhere to hide, I braced myself for the inevitable confrontation, steeling my resolve against the encroaching darkness. And then, without warning, the footsteps ceased, replaced by an eerie silence that hung heavy in the air like a suffocating fog. I strained my ears for any sign of movement, any indication of what horrors lay in wait beyond the threshold of my apartment. But there was nothing, only the sound of my own ragged breath, the pounding of my heart, a steady rhythm of fear and uncertainty. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the darkness receded, the oppressive weight lifting from my shoulders like a burden lifted. I collapsed to the floor, the adrenaline draining from my body like water from a broken dam. As I lay there in the darkness, bathed in the soft glow of the moonlight, I couldn't help but wonder, was it all just a figment of my imagination? A trick of the mind brought on by the loneliness of the night? Or was there something more sinister lurking in the shadows, something waiting to claim me as its next victim on this most unholy of nights? As the first light of dawn broke through the darkness, I knew one thing for certain. Valentine's Day would never be the same again. For beneath the veneer of love and romance lay a darkness more profound than any heart could bear. And as I lay in the silence of the morning, I couldn't help but wonder what other horrors awaited in the depths of the night, lurking just beyond the edges of my perception, waiting to claim me as their own. The anticipation of a blind date filled me with a mix of excitement and nervousness. My friends had set me up with someone named Alex, and as I walked through the charming little cafe, I scanned the room for any sign of my potential match. A tall figure with tousled hair caught my eye, and my heart skipped a beat. It was Alex. As we exchanged an awkward greeting, the nervous energy began to dissipate. Alex had a warm smile and an engaging personality that put me at ease. We ordered coffee and settled into a cozy corner, diving into conversations that flowed effortlessly. The chemistry was undeniable, and I felt a sense of relief. Perhaps this blind date would turn out to be something special. As the evening progressed, Alex suggested a stroll through the nearby park. The night air was crisp, and the dim glow of streetlights added a touch of romance to the atmosphere. We wandered along the winding paths, exchanging stories and laughter. Everything seemed perfect, a scene from a storybook romance. Yet, amid the enchanting ambiance, a subtle feeling of unease began to gnaw at me. I couldn't shake the sensation that someone was watching us, observing our every move from the shadows. I dismissed it as more paranoia, the byproduct of too many late-night crime dramas. As we approached a secluded area of the park, the uneasy feeling intensified. I glanced over my shoulder, scanning the darkness for any sign of a potential observer. That's when I noticed a figure, a silhouette merging with the night, stealthily trailing us from a distance. "Alex, do you see that?" I asked, my voice betraying a hint of anxiety. "What are you talking about?" Alex responded, glancing around but seemingly oblivious to the lurking presence. I hesitated, not wanting to ruin the perfect evening, but the feeling of being watched persisted. We continued our walk and tried to focus on Alex's company, hoping the unease would dissipate. As we circled back toward the cafe, the figure remaining in our wake, panic welled up within me, and I fumbled to come up with an excuse to cut the date short. Alex, sensing my discomfort, suggested grabbing a cab to my place. As we hailed a taxi, I cast one last glance over my shoulder. The mysterious figure now stood beneath a flickering street lamp, revealing an unsettling silhouette. The details were shrouded in darkness, but the feeling of being targeted overwhelmed me. We stepped into the taxi, my eyes glued to the figure outside. To my horror, as the cab pulled away, I realized the stalker wasn't alone. A group of shadowy figures emerged from the darkness, their faces concealed by the night. A chill ran down my spine, and I, cluing to Alex's hand, my heart racing with fear. We arrived at my apartment, and I hastily bid farewell to Alex, the ominous figures now etched in my mind. As I locked the door behind me, I couldn't shake the terror that lingered from our nightmarish encounter. Days turned into sleepless nights, as I became hyper-aware of my surroundings. The feeling of being watched persisted, a haunting reminder of that eerie night. I reported the incident to the police, but without concrete evidence, there was little they could do. My once promising connection with Alex had become overshadowed by the chilling specter of the stalker. Every unexpected sound sent shivers down my spine, and the once charming memories of that blind date now mingled with an undercurrent fear. The experience left me questioning the thin veil between the promise of romance and the lurking darkness that could descend upon the most unsuspecting moments. The invitation to a date night in an abandoned building was unconventional, to say the least. But Sarah's adventurous spirit couldn't resist the allure of the unknown. My heart pounded with a mixture of excitement and trepidation as I stood outside the decrepit structure, its weathered facade looming ominously against the night sky. Sarah, with her infectious enthusiasm and her mischievous grin, led the way, her flashlight cutting through the darkness like a beacon of curiosity. We navigated through the crumbling corridors, the echoes of our footsteps mingling with the eerie silence of the abandoned halls. The building whispered tales of forgotten memories, its walls adorned with graffiti that told stories of those who had once walked its halls. Sarah's laughter filled the air, a stark contrast to the desolation that surrounded us. She saw beauty in the decay, finding magic in the forgotten corners of the world. As we ventured deeper into the interior, the air grew thick with a palpable sense of unease. Shadows danced along the walls, casting sinister shapes that seemed to shift and writhe in the flickering light. I couldn't shake the feeling that we were not alone, that unseen eyes watched our every move from the darkness. Sarah, undeterred by the ominous atmosphere, pressed on, her sense of adventure driving her forward. We explored forgotten rooms, their contents frozen in time, relics of lives long past. Each step brought us deeper into the heart of the abandoned building, unraveling its mysteries one by one. But as the night wore on, the once thrilling adventure began to take a sinister turn. Whispers echoed through the corridors, barely audible murmurs that seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves. Sarah's cheerful demeanor faltered, replacing by a growing sense of unease that mirrored my own. We stumbled upon a hidden staircase, its steps descending into darkness like a portal to another world. Sarah's eyes gleamed with excitement, her curiosity outweighing any sense of caution. With a hesitant glance exchanged between us, we decided to enter the unknown depths below. The air grew colder with each step, a bone-chilling cold that seeped into our very bones. Shadows danced and flickered along the walls, casting grotesque shapes that seemed to leer and taunt us with their twisted forms. The oppressive darkness pressed in around us, suffocating and claustrophobic. And then, in the depths of the abandoned building, we stumbled upon a chamber unlike any we had seen before. The air was thick with the stench of decay, the walls adorned with symbols that spoke of an ancient rites and forgotten rituals. A sense of dread settled over us like a shroud, suffusing the chamber with an aura of malevolence. Sarah's laughter died on her lips, replaced by a trembling whisper of fear. We were not alone in the darkness. That much was clear. Eyes glinted over the shadows, watching our every move with a predatory hunger that sent shivers down my spine. In that moment, the true nature of the abandoned building revealed itself, a place of darkness and despair, where the echoes of the past lingered like ghosts in the night. Sarah and I stood in the precipice of the unknown, our fate hanging in the balance as we confronted the shadows that lurked within.